welcome to this edition of Tuesday Talks with Twyla. I am again on location. This time I'm in Sioux Falls and I'm in the car because it is not a beautiful day outside. It is rainy and cool here. So I'm in the car in between tennis matches. We are at the state tournament and the finals for doubles are starting here just after lunch. So I had a few minutes to steal away to get this recorded. So today, I want to bring up another topic that I have brought up in the past, and I feel like it's very fitting for us to talk about again. First of all, in light of my recent situation, I just lost my puppy. I'm going to call her a puppy because she was so tiny. She was just an 8-pound Shih Tzu that I've had for 10 years, so she wasn't a puppy. She just turned 10 in April, and I just lost her on Sunday morning. So I want to talk about feeling emotions, and that's the first reason I want to talk about it. But the second reason is because I do find this to be an issue with a lot of clients, and sometimes it's related to grief, but not always. Sometimes it's just a frustrated emotion or a more like charged energy around an emotion that we just don't want to experience. And I'm here to encourage you to embrace this and to start by getting curious about why your natural instinct or response is to not feel the emotion, to avoid it. And especially with grief, right? I think sometimes with like the tears and the crying, sometimes we just, maybe the time isn't right. Like you're at your desk and something hits you and you just, you don't want to be crying at your desk, or, you have kids around or friends or family around, whatever it is that makes you reluctant to allow the emotion. I invite you to get very curious about that, because it is a very natural and human thing to experience emotion, especially sadness and tears. And so when we resist that, we make it so much harder on ourselves. We make it more painful. We make it more, it's almost like that pressure pot, right? That just continues to build pressure. And that's what we're doing when we're suppressing that. We think we can just kind of, softly sweep it under the rug, but that's actually not what's happening in our body. We are suppressing a pressure, an emotion that needs to be there, that needs to be experienced, that needs to be allowed. And if we think we're being smarter than it by circumventing it and just avoiding it like an obstacle that we're going to avoid completely, that's not what happens. We're not avoiding it completely. It's there, it's still festering, it's still doing its thing, and it's definitely making it worse. So when we do go to experience it, it might be a lot stronger. It might, pop up when we are not expecting it, which can be very inconvenient. But it's definitely going to make it worse and possibly harder to experience when we do experience it. It can also cause some discomfort in our body, right? You can have, some like weird pain in your hip, or you can have some pain in your shoulder, or you can have some knee pain. And there's all kinds of, pent up emotion and body work that you can research, and you can find that information out. I 100% believe that happens to us. So I want to just invite you to be very curious when your natural reaction is to avoid an emotion. And one of the things that I have learned through making the conscious choice to open up to my emotion and just allow it, whether it's just some little spark of emotion or some little spark of fear, typically that's what I will try to avoid. But with the sadness that I've experienced in losing my dear beloved Lucy, Sunday, she passed away early Sunday morning at the vet hospital, and I got to go visit her. And after that, I was pretty sad. And we were on our way out of town because we were coming to Sioux Falls for state tennis. And we went through Scooters to get our traditional coffee that we get on our way out of town. And I just remembered her jumping on my lap and being like ready to jump out the window to get her pup cup. And I bless the hearts of the young baristas. They just watched me, give my order and pay for my order with nose red, sometimes tears streaming. And it was very obvious that I was crying, and I just let it be, right? I wasn't embarrassed. I felt bad if they were uncomfortable. I wasn't uncomfortable. I was feeling the sadness that I was meant to feel. I was remembering such a fond memory of my baby pup, and I was fine with that. And I wasn't about to try to avoid the crying or, put myself together for their sake. It was what I needed, and I was just fine with that. I embraced it, and the tears fell. And then things got better. And then me and my husband started talking about something, and it all rushed back again. And I cried several times during the day on Sunday, and I just allowed it. And then once we got to Sioux Falls, we've been really busy. And so I've had the distraction, and this might not have been a trip that I would normally have her with me because we're indoors and obviously I can't have her inside. But if we would have been playing outside, she would have been with me and right next to me. And she always was. She traveled with me all the time. She was my sidekick. She just was always attached to me. And so that has helped. Now we're going to be going back home, and she won't be there waiting for me, and that'll be hard all over again. And so I will embrace that, right? I will experience that grief as it comes and goes, probably less and less, right, as time goes on, but I'm not going to try to avoid it because I don't want that bottled up inside me, right? And I think that it's just fine to allow any of that sadness to be there and experience it and allow it, and have compassion for yourself, have kindness for yourself and understanding, right? It makes perfect sense that I'm going to cry a lot because she was my baby for 10 years. She was right next to me day and night. And so, yeah, I'm going to experience some grief. And so, and I've lost two parents. Most of my family have passed. I'm one of the youngest in my family, so I've experienced a lot of grief in my life, and there's been a lot of tears and a lot of times allowed for that. And I don't think that I've, exhausted all of that even, right? I mean, I still have times where I miss my mom terribly, and I'll cry again, right? It's been a very long time since I lost my mom. So it isn't something that we do and then there's, there can be closure, and there can be some of that eases some of the grief and sadness, but it typically isn't something that you go through and then it's done. Like any other emotion, fear or anxiety or any of those things that just life in general will bring up for you, right? Our lives are ever evolving. We have different experiences. We have different things come up, different challenges that we're faced with. And with all of that, there can be negative emotion. And I just invite you to be open to, for one, curiosity, if your natural instinct is to avoid it. And with that curiosity, take a look at what you're doing instead. So sometimes that means eating when we're not hungry, right? Just trying to distract ourselves, because if we don't want to feel this emotion, then we'll eat and then we'll physically feel something else, right? You'll have, maybe some stomach discomfort. You'll be over full because you ate when you weren't even hungry. You're usually eating something that's not good for you, and that can give you a little bit of indigestion. And so get really curious about how you handle it. Do you distract yourself with your phone and start getting on social media? For me, that's an easy one, right? Like if I have something come up, I can just grab my phone. And that's one of those habits that I can do anywhere because I always have my phone on me, and I can just do it without even realizing it. So if it's something like that for you, you want to make sure that you're very conscious of it, right? Because it can just be something, if I'm anywhere and I'm having some emotion, some discomfort, I'm uncomfortable about something, I can always grab my phone and distract myself. I don't always have a bag of chips or a bag of cookies or something like that I can overeat, or if, over drinking or over binging Netflix or something like that is your vice, whatever it is, your cell phone might be one of those, like it is for me, and it's very easily and readily available, right? So I'm just going to invite you with the most loving kindness to embrace all of your emotions and the good ones too, right? If you're one of those that's not comfortable celebrating yourself or being happy or being excited and having warm thoughts and loving thoughts about your positive experience, I invite you to get very curious about that. Typically, those kinds of avoidances are related to us not feeling worthy of having the positive experience. So get very curious with those as well. We are designed to feel emotion. Now, our caveman brain is designed to avoid pain. So anything that is interpreted as a possible discomfort, we're going to automatically, without even realizing it, our brain is going to tell us, whoa, avoid this, like it's an obstacle, like it's a pitfall. But I just embrace you to challenge that. Get curious about it and challenge it. And start small. If this is something you've never done or never done intentionally, I invite you to start small. Give yourself a narrow window, like, okay, I'm going to spend some time with this and I'm going to get curious and I'm just going to allow whatever happens. And always know that you're in control, right? Like if a couple of minutes is enough and you're like, okay, that's all I can do right now, that's fine. Just like you can redirect your thoughts at the beginning when you have the onset of the emotion, you can always do it 2 minutes in, 5 minutes in, and redirect your focus, and you'll redirect your emotion, right? You'll pull away from whatever it is that you were feeling. But just know that this is the most ironic thing about it is like we avoid this pitfall like we're going to be. I always imagine, I don't know if you remember, like back in the day, I think that's actually what the video game was called, was Pitfall, and there were alligators in the water, right? And then if you fell in, then you fell into the pitfall and then you died. And so we avoid it like that's what it is, right? Like it's so dangerous. There's alligators in the water that we're going to fall into, and so we avoid it. But the reality is, it's simply an uncomfortable sensation in our body. That's it. Like the times that I've experienced it, I just am like laughing at myself saying that was not as bad as you had made it out to be. Like I had spent, and you might be doing this too, so much more energy trying to avoid feeling the emotion than what it actually required for me to allow it. How crazy is that? So we make it harder on ourselves by avoiding it, by suppressing it, because there's still all of those side effects of that, right? Like the pain in the body, where it manifests, holding that in, right? Like sometimes it is a pressure pot that we're just using all of our energy just to keep the lid on so we don't burst into tears at the most inappropriate and unexpected time. So we just have to know that and just tell yourself, okay, I've got this. I can do this, because it is not anywhere near as hard as your caveman brain will have you think it is. And once you experience this, you'll be like, oh, that was not that difficult. I can do this. And again, you're always in control. So if it's just 2 minutes at a time to start with, or 5 minutes, set a timer, or just know that you're always in control to redirect it at any time that you think, okay, this is kind of my breaking point, or this is too much for me. Because if it's your first time, it might be. Or you might just be surprised in that it's like, whoa, that's what I've been avoiding this whole time. It's not that bad. So I invite you to get curious and give it a shot. Get really, just explore it and be curious, and always be kind and compassionate with yourself throughout this whole process. Know that you're always in control, and it is definitely better on the other side. It is more strength and resilience that we've gone through this, that we've accomplished it, we were successful, we didn't die. It is definitely like lifting weights and flexing a muscle, right? Like it hurts when we lift to exhaustion and we have that recoil of some soreness, but then the muscle is stronger on the other side. And that's exactly what this is like, to feel emotions. And it will get easier as you practice. And there might be some that are easier and there might be some that aren't, right? So you might just be experiencing, anger and anxiety or some other negative emotions. And then when sadness comes, you're like, whoa, this one's way different. So it might be different when you run the gamut of the different emotions. But just know that you absolutely can handle this, and start with curiosity and awareness, and always have kindness and compassion. So with that, I will leave you until next week. Feel your emotions, know that you'll be okay, and stronger and more resilient on the other side. All right, I'll see you next Tuesday. Hopefully the sun is shining. I'm ready for some nice weather. Have a great week.